Just then I noticed an SUV following me. And sometimes your own imagery can be your worst enemy. So I stopped to see if they were really following me. I mean, I was in a gated community. He was on the phone and just stared back at me. I turned to move away cautiously. He stepped out and approached me. My heart beat rhythmically. If I could only make it home, my dad would protect me.
After the Trayvon Martin case, a light bulb went off in my head. It made me wonder, how is life as an African American male? Trayvon Martin could have been my brother, my cousin, my nephew, my boyfriend, or my unborn son. Imagine on a day-to-day basis, you are faced with police brutality or racism. It's like really crazy. How can someone live their life having to code switch every day? I mean, I code switch as a young lady, but Black men, they have to be extra careful how they present themselves, how they act in public, because there's a stigma there that they have to break down, that I'm not the average thug. I'm not Pookie from around the way. I am so-and-so, and I have values, and I know how to, act in front of other people. I am educated. I'm not the stereotype that you think I am. In fact, the reason why I have such a connection with this project is about 3 to 4 of my cousins were beat and murdered by the police. It's an uneasy feeling that one day, when I have children or when I have a son, I have to sit him down and teach him about Trayvon Martin and let him know that he's a target too. But along from that, I took this documentary on the streets and I interviewed other guys. So stay tuned.
Something that a Black man has to go through almost every day of his life. As a Black man, you have to realize that a lot of times in different situations, in professional situations, we have to soften our look, soften our appearance, because most people who do not know us from Adam or Steve, they don't know that we are the same as the next person. They may see us from different stereotypes and different things that they might not know about us. They may see, oh, he might be flashy, or he might be this, or oh, he might be that, but not realizing that I am me.
My name is Tramel, son of Sheila and Wayman, father of Garvey. And to me, being a Black man in America, it's a beautiful thing. It's a scary thing. It's a hard thing to do, but it's very rewarding. You see that there are people that want to emulate us. At the same time, they can't stand us, they fear us. Then you have those of us that appear to be Black men, but they're still Black little boys, even though their ID may say that they're 21 and over. But the blame for that falls strictly on the heads of other Black men that didn't grab those little boys' hands and try to guide them the right way and try to create more Black men. But for the most part, being a Black man is very interesting. It's a surprise every day. You don't know if you're going to get the clutch purse by the elevator. You don't know if you're going to be pulled over just because your car looks too nice for you, or if you're in the wrong neighborhood. But there's also the beautiful side of the camaraderie that we have, amongst each other. That if you see another brother in need, as far as myself and the ones that I hang around with, it's like, hey, brother, you need a hand? Need some help? What's the problem? So it's a beautiful thing. It's a scary thing, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. If they say, hey, if you can come back as any other race or sex, I want to be a Black man over and over again.
Again, we are criminals. We are hoodlums. We sag our pants. We blare our rap music in our car, which I might do every now and again. But that's not all who I am. I can listen to 2 Chainz, and I also can do the Pythagorean theorem in about 2 to 3 seconds. So I always want to say that code switching is going from me listening to my crazy wild rap music in the car, my OPP or my hip hop array, to being able to be in the business suit and be in the business world. And one of the reasons that personally I chose engineering is because my father, who grew up in the 60s and 70s, he told me stories about the riots in DC or different activities that he had to go through just to be equal.
Okay, my name is Clayton Nance, and I work in public safety here at Bennett College. And I'm actually a former school teacher, coach at the high school level, 34 years. During the time that I decided to accept education as a profession, it was very difficult, meaning that, number one, you had to compete for a job. And by competing for a job, I was automatically sent to a predominantly black school. And during that time, there were not many head black coaches in the Greensboro City school system, meaning that I had an opportunity to apply for a job. And applying for a job in the Greensboro City school system, I was very much so overlooked, not because of my not being qualified or being capable, but because of this color of my skin. And finally, and fortunately, when we decided to change the lines in the school system, I was one chosen to actually go to a predominantly white school, which was one of the largest schools here in the city of Greensboro. And I became a head coach, and I spent 34 years in the school system, in administration and in the teaching area, field, and coaching. And during my years of coaching all 3 varsity high school sports, everything was always judgmental, because most of my teams were predominantly white teams at that particular time because of the racial, the makeup of the school. But I was able to survive, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to have an impact on students' lives and have an opportunity to retire out of the school system. And then I came to Bennett College and started working in public safety, and I have been here now going on 6 years as a supervisor.
I had a Twitter chat with a lot of African Americans. Stephen actually tuned in and chatted with me. But my cousin, Jamie Irvin, he is a personal trainer, and he said when he goes on job interviews, they ask, well, how did you get your degree? Did you have a scholarship for sports? Do you play sports? And he was like, well, I'm educated. Here are the responses for the other males who also participated in the Twitter chat.
And when we fight blatant racism, I believe that it was a brick wall, and now we're fighting a battle with a glass wall that we can't truly see. Some people, when they get to that finish line, they might run into it, and they might think, "Oh, I can keep pushing through it," but it's glass sitting there. It's a glass wall, and before it's a brick wall that everybody was able to see. Some people, some of my white friends, you have to deal with that. I didn't know. Some people don't know some of the things that we go through because it's not every day. It's not water hoses shot at people. Now it's subliminal things like, I'm going to give this other guy a chance for this job instead of you. Not because I really don't like you, but because I'd rather have somebody who looks like me.
I just don't feel that it's fair that when I have my son, I have to sit down and have a conversation. Because I'm pretty sure, like, a white man don't have to sit his son and tell his son, like, look, when you go outside, you got to make sure you're P's and Q's, because you don't want to be walking outside in the dark because you might get pulled over not doing anything. So I feel like that conversation, it shouldn't have to be had, and it kind of makes me afraid of having a son one day because I can't protect him from everything.
The message that I would give to my unborn son is never give up, no matter what anybody tells you, and that I love you, and that I will always be there to lead you and to guide you.